So, just as you're coming in for this session, waiting for people to settle, we're encouraging you to kick back a little. It's that time in the day, isn't it? So, be free to get comfortable in your space and do what you need to do. Um, my name is Sarah Pickthall, and I'm a white woman. I've got my light hair with a fringe tied back underneath my new headphones and a lilac top, and I'm wearing glasses with a black rim and green rims. And I'm interested in inclusive cultures, and I'm a trainer and I'm a consultant and coach. But by far the best thing I do is co-chair Access All Areas Theatre Company based in Hackney. And we make intimate and challenging disruptive theatre and performance by learning disabled and autistic creatives. So that's me, a co-chair, and we're based in Hackney. And I'd like to introduce my co-chair, Charlene Salter, who will introduce herself and describe herself too. Over to you, Charlene.
Thank you, Sarah. Hello, everyone. It's nice to meet you all today. I'm Charlene Salter. I'm a black woman. I have short blonde hair. I've got headphones on. I've got blue glasses. I'm wearing a blue check shirt with a white t-shirt and a silver necklace. For me, I am an actor for Access All Areas and, writer as well for Access. And I'm also a co-chair for the program of transforming leadership with Access All Areas. Yeah, that's me.
Fantastic. So handing over to Paul, who is one of our deputy co-chairs. Over to you, Paul.
Howdy, everyone. My name is Paul Christian, he, him. I'm a black male. I'm wearing a black shirt with white stripes on it. I've got black hair, green commando trousers on, and black and white trainers on. I'm a deputy co-chair along with my partner, Charlene Salter, and I'm also an actor and an author as well.
Okay, and Heather, over to you.
Yeah. No. I'm Heather. I work as a support mentor with Paul and Charlene, and I'm a white woman with red hair, grey top, and glasses.
Wonderful. Okay, so we're going to move to the slides now and the focus of our session together. And this is about how taking time has saved us time in coming together and working inclusively as a board over the last 2 years. So as Charlene mentioned, this is part of Transforming Leadership, a 2-year programme funded by Arts Council England, where 9 learning disabled, autistic and neurodiverse artists and creatives were exploring their leadership as employees of the company to challenge the idea of who can lead and how to do this in an inclusive and accessible way. So the roles were very varied across Access All Areas functionality, with theatre directing roles and participation roles, digital influencing roles, and governance as well. So the next slide, please. That's it. So here we are all together. And as part of this program, there's been leadership theory and coaching as well. And of course, the important focus, which is why Charlene and Paul and I are here, how we work together as chairs. And we've all been hearing Hillary's great question. What role can the chair take in making the work of your organization, and particularly your board, more inclusive? So next slide, please. Here we are. Well, that's the roles. So the following slide would be great. So that's what we've been doing as part of Transforming Leadership. And there's some mug shots coming up Next, here we are in all our glory, our 4 co-chairs, so working together collaboratively. And this has been such an extraordinary period of all of our lives that we've lived through. And because we've had to work virtually, it was really interesting to look at inclusivity in a broader way, not just about how we were making our processes easier to understand and grasp. So everyone had that equity, everyone was coming at it, understanding and feeling connected. But at the start, Charlene was very clear. So next slide, please. In one of the first images, when we first connected with the idea of it, that taking a board role was about power, moving into a position, something that she'd never actually contemplated before. And Paul, who is, next slide, please, our sage, very keen to shape and influence how people govern. What is this governance thing, this board working? And to ensure the representation of learning disabled and autistic people at board level, and that what we were doing was a game changer. So before we're going to show you a film that we made a couple of months ago to share all the incredible things that we were learning about when we took time, how it would save us time, we're going to warm you up a bit because we can't be in a space and have a cup of tea together. So we're going to get you warmed up a bit. So a few little exercises that we have devised, which we find is a critical part of the way that we work so that we can come together and really do the business of board. So I'm going to hand over to Charlene, and she is going to take us away with the first little warming piece of toast. Over to you, Charlene.
Thank you. Yeah, just wanted to give a little warm up. Now is the about this warm up exercise of toast, basically. So, what is your favourite toast to have?
We've got some choices
here.
there.
If you could raise your hand, and I'll ask what is your favourite toast. Any volunteers?
So I think we've got Hannah.
Yeah, Hannah.
Hi, Charlene.
Hi.
I love toast, any toast, but my favourite toast is brown toast with marmalade.
Okay. And can I ask you, why is that? Why do you like to have brown and marmalade on it?
I like butter and then marmalade because I really like the combination of the melted butter, really hot, and then the cold marmalade because it's really sweet and crunchy all at the same time.
Yeah, nice. You're my kind of a sweet tooth. Yeah, that's me. Yeah, thanks.
No problem.
Anybody else would like to share their toast? Oh, yes.
Hi, Charlene and everybody else. I'm well done toast, the middle of the bottom row, and Marmite, butter and Marmite.
Okay.
And I know that divides us all. You're either Marmite yes or Marmite no.
And why is that? Why do you like that combination?
Because it warms me up, it spikes me up, gets me going.
Oh, nice one. Let's say one more. I have one more. Who would like to have volunteer one more?
There's some lovely things coming up in the chat as well. Peanut butter and Marmite from Gareth.
Wow.
You see, look how much we're learning about our toast
Wow.
predilections. Brilliant. Charlie, what do you like on your toast?
I like mine. I would say deferred toast, and I like mine to, you know, I'm a sweet tooth, so anything that's sweet, you know, jam or marmalade or, you know, chocolate spread, I'm down to it. Yeah, that's me.
I think there's like, has anyone tried Biscoff on toast? Wow, delicious. Ace. So shall we move over? Thanks, Charlene, to
Yeah,
Paul.
thank you. Thank you everyone for doing that warm up. They all were really good. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'll pass it over to you, Paul.
Yeah, thank you, Charlene. A lot of great answers from the toast bit of the segment. But the next thing we're going to talk about is sneezing, and I want to ask people, and you can reply in the chat about what what kind of sneeze do you have? Do you sneeze differently? And if we do, and also can say if we sneeze, what does that sneeze say about your personality as well? So.
And there's a Harry Styles slide that we love very much. Little bit of it. So, Paul, how do you sneeze?
I sneeze like this. Achoo! And it's really, really loud. Yeah. Anyone else?
Who would? Fronica.
I recently pulled a muscle between my ribs, and it means sneezing is really, really painful. So at the moment, if I sneeze, it sounds really silly because I have to go and stop it because otherwise it hurts my ribs too much.
What does your sneeze say about you?
It says I've hurt my ribs at the moment. Normally I'd sneeze more loudly, which I don't know what that says about me, that I'm happy to spread my germs. That's a terrible thing to say, particularly at the moment.
Thank you. Anyone else? What about you, Hannah?
I'm trying to think what my sneeze says about my personality. I tend to, if I sneeze, I tend to sneeze a lot. So like they don't stop. Once they start, I'll sneeze like 3, 4, 5 times, quite loudly. So what does that say about me? I don't know, maybe I have a lot of energy. Maybe that's what it says. I don't know. It's a good question. I will keep thinking on it.
Yeah. Thank you, Hannah. Katie.
I also sneeze lots in a row, and I squeeze my nose, and so I sort of sneeze. So it's probably, I don't know, and I'm very quiet, so it's probably something about being reserved and not very free.
The last one.
Look in the chat, Paul. Kevin has said something. That's really interesting.
Yeah. I tried to sneeze quietly in public, loudly at home. That's funny. So the last one is John.
We've got you, John.
I sneeze very, very loudly. And yeah, it's I always cover my mouth, or I do it into my arm like that. So it's not too obnoxious, and I don't yeah, I'm not upsetting anybody around me. But yes, very loudly.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for your
Thank
honest
you.
answers.
Yeah, the honest answers. Thank you, Paul. And I'm just going to finish off with my favorite, one of my favorite little warm-up ones. So the next slide, please. So I just like people to put in the chat, what Betty Davis are you channeling today? What Betty Davis are you channeling today? So if you pop it in the chat, and you might like to explain a little bit or reveal a little bit of what particular picture you relate to. Just give you a minute for that. And as you're doing that, we found that these particular exercises allow us to reveal little bits of ourselves, of how we are, in order for us to share, yes, just who we are as human beings, are the little things that we do. It's lovely to hear how people sneeze and what stops them sneezing and where they do it and how they do it. Oh, lovely. 5. Why I have my camera off? Thank you, Gareth. Slight post-lunch slump. Yeah, thank you. 9, but now feeling more like a 5. Yes, you can move through Betty Davis guises through the day. 4, thoughtful but sleepy. Thank you very much. So now we're going to show you that film we promised you. So grab your popcorn and your drink. And it's a 10-minute film, and it has captions, and it explores a little bit about the way we've been working together. So if we can play the film, that would be brilliant. I was wondering what we would call this presentation. And then I was thinking about, you know, that expression crossed wires, when you have crossed wires. Well, I kind of thought, oh, should we talk about rewiring a board and then like electric board? And I thought, oh, that's fair. Well,
I like
Paul
it.
likes that. Do you like it? What is transforming leadership? How did we come together as 4 chairs?
Transforming leadership is for us to have control and to show other companies that we, are capable of doing these leadership roles.
It gives us purpose and an identity that surpasses what people on the outside world don't normally get to see from us. It gives us a voice for the voiceless.
For a charity such as Access Areas, which is all about helping people with autism and learning disabilities to do this, it's so important that we are actually represented. We weren't, so it's a very exciting thing for me.
But Charlene, you didn't really know. What did you think was going on? What were your feelings about at the board?
Well, I was very intrigued of what was going on. Now I'm in that position. It's like, well, very empowering. I'm seeing it from the outside and now in the inside of it.
So how could we feel more in control? Well, this is when it got really exciting. So can you talk us through what these are?
We were discussing about how can we tell the board members, for example, I've got a question, or can you slow down? At the beginning of our first board meeting, we started doing this, and it had worked really well.
And it actually allows us to really notice and take our time and see what someone is, particularly in Zoom, putting up and saying that they need some time or they need something explaining. We then did something else around how the agenda would look. Paul, what is this? This is part of the agenda. Can you explain it?
Well, in simple layman's terms, we come up with the agenda of who's going to say what. You have to remember we've only got like a certain time limit. We have to narrow it down. So
I don't know about you, Frederick, but I find it so much easier to work with an agenda that's curated in this way. It's lovely.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things as well about just doing this has been it's taken away that thing that sometimes people come to boards with being like really quite pompous about who they are and about also their status and about and people want to come and say something to show off a bit or do that or they get very involved. And actually I just think it's really good because it's so nice that what we're doing is actually really just finding humanity and slowing down and making sure that everyone is included and that also the right people are leading it. One of the things that's Transforming Leadership's done really well and is just been also about helping us, everyone working together to plan it.
It's more like a chess game, really. Like you have to really know where certain pieces need to go in order to try and get your checkmate.
People have thought that transforming leadership might mean that meetings would take longer or that we wouldn't be able to get through things. But in fact, we do. Well, we all work together to plan the meetings really effectively, and that really helps things just be so much more efficient and inclusive and work really well. And so I think Paul's chess game thing is so right. It is a chess game, but it's one that we've all planned out.
For me, first time being chair, it's like I've learned so much, being on this chair. And, and I think that I've grown in myself and I think I've gained that confidence, like the power and that taking control of that power that I've never had before. I've been always afraid of just taking control and also, being with Paul as well, helped me as well along the way. We've learned from each other. So it's, we build this trust and that.
So this is meetings with our CEO. This sense of crossed wires, unless you, Paul and Charlene, meet with Patrick, then there's always a point in the meeting where it slightly goes, blah, 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 blah. It runs out of control.
So I think when we started having meetings before board meetings between myself and the senior management team and Charlene and Paul and the chairs, it really made everything much more clear for us all in approaching the board meeting. I think one of the biggest things that I would say to somebody trying to make their board meetings accessible is to give that time in advance, just to talk, as Charlene says, to talk through ideas and give a bit more space for people to communicate as they need to outside of the pressure of a board meeting as well. And I want to be really clear on that has never been or never felt like an extra effort for me. It's never felt like something that, I have to add this to my schedule. It's actually made everything move more quickly and everything flow more easily. When we started running accessible meetings, which gave space for people to have ideas shared however they needed to have ideas shared, it just brought so many more ideas.
When was the moment that it was clear that Paul and Charlene could lead the AGM? Whose idea was it that you would do it?
It was definitely, Nick and Patrick said it was, we think that you and Paul should lead the AGM this year.
How did that feel?
Obviously nervous because first time, we've got control of the AGM and also, the trust as well of taking that forward and that. But yeah, it seems like everybody did enjoy the AGM. So yeah, all good. All good.
It was certainly a game-changing moment for me. I mean, it's always going to be a privilege to me. And it's also a confidence boost as well.
Just to say as well, it was such a massive meeting. I just looking at that slide, I think 81 people on Zoom, which is terrifying. And but also it was delivered so professionally. I think it was a real team effort from Charlene and Paul leading it, but we're Patrick and Nick supporting and all the other people supporting as well, but also just so much enthusiasm and positivity from all the people participating in seeing Charlene and Paul leading it, and that's what I really took away from it as well. I think it was a celebration for everyone. It was just brilliantly done.
What would be the thing that you would like to share, Charlene, from this process so far? Because we're going to keep on being inclusive and keep on working together, focusing on how we're working together so everyone feels included.
Do lots of more discussions and find out, you know, what needs to be rewired. The other board members, you know, talk to them, see what needs to, you know, be rewired as well. It's that communication, you know, with the other board members.
Mine would be, don't not do it for fear of getting it wrong. You won't get it wrong. And if you work and actually have conversations with everyone about it, plan it and prep it, it will be brilliant. And
I think inclusion is the key, really. If we take more time, find out what's working or not working for people, plan properly, then we can arrive at something that really works and keeps to time.
Having learning disabled and autistic trustees or chair people is not just for companies that specifically focus on learning disability and autism. Having a neurodiverse board is beneficial. It brings in other ways of thinking, I suppose, and it just supports more creative voices within your community. So I really think any organization, any cultural organization should be looking to how they are including learning disabled voices at their governance level.
If we all just get on one page and be united, then things would be so much easier.
Thank you. So that was just sharing with you some of what we've been developing and working on and our insights, and how we're really great at keeping to time because of some of the things that we've put in place. I'm going to hand over to Charlene now for one more exercise to get you thinking about how you would communicate and share what needs to be rewired for you. So I'm going to hand over to Charlene to talk more about controlling the pace. Over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Sarah. Can we have the next slide, please? So as you heard from the video, we was talking about, you know, how we would work in the board, like how can we like make it more accessible on the board. So we had the idea of, you know, with Sarah, myself and Paul and her as well, talking about how to make the board accessible. So we had this idea of doing these cards, you know, like there, for example, you know, slowing down, stop, or can you say that again, please? And we did give this a try in our very first board meeting, our very first one, and it did work. It did really work really well. And we did try it for Zoom, but then we kind of think and we thought it was better for when we do the boards in person. But these really do work really well. So yeah. But I am going to set you on a very, very special challenge now. I would like each of you to find a certain object that you have lying around. It could be anything. It has to represent what you think will that be. Slow down, stop, or can you say that again, please? And you've got 60 seconds to do it. So, yeah.
Charlene, shall I give a little example?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, sorry, Heather, I can give us an example.
So I'm finding something in my space that means stop or slow down or control the pace. Is that right?
Yeah.
Lovely. And I think, could we have the next slide? Because there's some more examples of your beautiful cards. Yeah. Maybe another one as well. Yeah. So I just happened to have found this bike light, which now is not working. But imagine it's flashing red. Stop. There it is, flashing a bit. There we go.
Yeah. So I'll have us demonstrate. So if you could find something, yeah, that can represent stop, go, or slow down. You've got 60 seconds to go and have a search. And yeah, go for it.
Should we do it? Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do.
Yeah. 60 seconds are up now. I hope you've got your objects ready. Let's start. Katie, what is your object for?
Well, it's a little rabbit timer, and I have to say I picked it really because I think it's cute. Whereas actually it makes me feel a bit panicky, a timer, but I decided to reinterpret it as more time, please. So slow down.
Oh, yeah. Charlotte, what's your object?
Okay. Well, it's actually the controls to the radio and music center. So it's kind of I'm imagining using it to sort of either fast forward or push up the volume so that I can understand better. It's also because I'm stuck in bed. It's the only thing I could reach.
Anna, what have you got there? What's your object?
This is like a little, calendar, and it's got these little dials so you can move time forwards and backwards. It sits on my desk, so I thought that was a good slow down object.
Nice one. Thank you.
Oh, Jackie's got something handy.
Jackie, go ahead. What's your object?
I just happen to have a red hanky, so I can wave a red flag. See, slow down.
Oh, nice. Do one more. Does anyone have an object? Got one more.
Froniger,
go ahead.
So this is my little donkey Ned, and because he's got big ears, he's saying, "Could you say that again, please?"
Oh, wow. Thank you, everyone. You've like picture objects. You should like kind of think. For like the board members. It's just resource easier to like understand for the board to help make it accessible, and to make the boards more you know, will come what they say and stuff, and just, you know, help each other out, you know, with the board members. So yeah, thank you very much for that, everyone.
Thanks, Charlene. Thank you. So we're just going to spend the rest of our time together, opening it up to everybody. Obviously, we showed you a film and the different ways that we work. And the taking time actually means that we connect better. We're clearer about what's going on. And yeah, we do keep to time. So any questions that you have about the way that we're working and ideas that you have but haven't yet put into practice, or what you're thinking about in respect of your boards and getting people with learning disabilities, autism, neurodiverse lived experiences on board with you. So over to you. Any questions in the chat or that you'd like to come through with? So we just wait in the chat. Hannah, have you got a question? You've just come off. Yes.
Yeah, I was really interested in the image on the slide about the agenda. And I don't know if that was like something you pulled together for the presentation, but there was like a table with photos, and it looked like maybe like a working agreement. I'm afraid the slides were changing a little bit, so I couldn't see it brilliantly. But I was just wondering if that is something that you're using, that you created as an agenda, that kind of visual slide you created, that you shared.
Who would like to answer that? Because it's something that Charlene and Paul have developed with Heather.
It looked really interesting and a really much more engaging way to have a meeting, I thought.
Yeah. Yeah, it's you know, we and Paul thought, you know, with Heather and said that because, you know, the board meetings could be full on and stuff, you know, so we thought if it'd be better if we did like a template of like each agenda. So it's like we discussed it first to go over, like we have like a annual report, so what's gone on with the company and stuff, and then we talk through what needs to be talked about. That's really important, and then we discuss it over, and then you know, with the help with Heather and with Patrick, who's our the CEO, and that we go over and make a template of the agenda of what each topic of what me and Paul leads on, and that, so the times, so you know who we introduce you to next, and so on. So it's more clearer of the sections of what we need to discuss on that certain agenda, so to make it more accessible.
Yeah. Paul, is there anything you want to say?
I agree.
Yeah.
Like Charlene said, we wanted to make the experience of restructuring and forming a new way of doing meetings, especially board meetings, so it could be inclusive to all, not because we felt like we was been left out, but still being involved. But we wanted to change the whole foundation of facts. We wanted to make it more inclusive and more fun for people like us, for people doing it.
Yeah, that's right. And we've also developed ways in which what do we want to happen here? So do we want to have a discussion? Do we want to make a decision? Do we want to delay? So we also have that built in. So we all know what kind of way we're going to be communicating with each other and what time we allocate to that. So that's felt really important to do. So yeah.
Thank you so much.
Obviously, there's some questions around the money, isn't there? So what's changed about how we talk about money, Charlene? We've asked Patrick to put things, haven't we? Himmy and Patrick, what's happening? What's getting?
The money situation is a lot, a lot of information, but we asked Patrick and Himmy who sorts out the money, and we asked them if they could do like an easygram for us to understand, and kind of asked, they can like put images on, like for example, like for piggy bank, like and stuff to make it more, accessible and that. And also we do, put like the colours where the money's going in and money's going out sort of thing. So it's kind of like make it more easier, not so jumble up or loads of numbers and all that stuff. So yeah, so it's definitely more like accessible for like me and Paul to understand it more clearly.
Yeah. And it doesn't mean to say that doing these things we're not on the business. I mean, we've been living through very alarming times, as many of you here have. And the importance is that we understand and take responsibility for that, but breaking it down and working in this way has been very comforting and informative for all of us working together. It's really brought us together in a way that I don't think will ever be the same. I don't think we can go back from these new ways of working. So yeah, and we've just got just over 8 minutes left. Any other questions? I think just to say taking time does mean working with someone like Heather. Yeah, it's about making sure that people are supported in the way that works for them. So there is equity across our board workings. We're not going to say that it happens. And also Charlene and Paul know and understand and have had different roles within the organization. So they know it, and they've come slowly into these positions. They interviewed for the roles. Yeah, but what Tom and Hilary were having a conversation, it takes time. Who is in your view? Who should be in the room because they've got an incredible connection with the work or have exciting and interesting ideas? So it's slow. It's a slow process, but involves everyone shifting and changing the way that we meet and what this board thing is. Suddenly when people talk about the board, your whole body changes and you feel differently. So it's just changing the way you feel about it and the way you operate. Any more questions? And if not, maybe Charlene and Paul would like to talk about, what next? What next with our boards? There's an AGM coming up. What's happening next?
In February next year, we're having an event with all the leaders in Battersea, where we're going to, show our leadership skills, like what have we learned and stuff, and to show other, all other, high leaders and stuff, and to share what we've learned to share with them. So a big event. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, big event at Battersea Arts Centre. Paul, thank you, Charlene.
Yeah, thanks, Charlene. We also have a board where we day which we always have, like, I think annually, but it's where we discuss and arrange different things and topics that we want to discuss and that we want to take into actual meetings. And we also have an AGM meeting as well, and hopefully we'll get to do some more of these hopefully in the future. So, yeah.
So, are there any more questions or things to ask? So yes, Jackie. Jackie, hi.
It's not a question, it's just a comment I'm making after reflecting on this session and reflecting on a session I had with my board members about 10 days ago, where I did a warm-up game with the board members. And actually doing something like that brought much greater participation. So it's something I need to tell myself more often than anyone else probably, that actually taking time and having a bit of fun can actually get the business done better. And I think you've demonstrated that this afternoon, so thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Any other comments? There's one last slide that just to summarise our feelings about this. It's just all about, for us, it's all about not equality, giving people the same, but we have to give people what they need in order to be part of what we do. That sort of entitlement. So time to dive in or discuss and go deeper. And equal voices, so and different voices to shape and steer the business, you know, particularly that ethic of nothing about us without us. It wouldn't be right to not have Charlene by my side, or for Frederick to not be working with Paul. And that ease and understanding, exploring different ways, so chopping it up, a bit of film here, a bit of audio there, so we can discuss and decide and delight in the success, but also explore the difficulties, step up to that, not pretend that, oh, only we can hold it. It's for everybody. You know, this is a role. Board is the business. And that ultimately, if we work in this way, you will keep to time. We haven't gone over time. When I first joined, we did quite often, and then we could only hear some of the voices quite naturally, because there's a lot to relay. But those pre-meetings are winners, because everyone gets up to speed. Charlene, I can see, Charlene, you're nodding there, and Paul too. They just make all the difference. And just if I leave you with anything, to try them out. As Frederick said, you know, you're not going to fail. You know, try and try. And if you do get a little bit bruised, because people will tell you, hopefully they'll feel that they can tell you where it's not going so well, and you can learn and go back into inclusive board working again. So I think that's us at time. Thank you for coming to our session. Thank you always, Charlene, Paul and Heather, for just being the team, the brilliant team that I'm part of, and on for our next AGM and Broad Away. And thank you. Do come to our event. We'll be pushing it out on social media in February for you to come and find out more about the way we've been working. Charlene.
No, just, you know, thank you for coming and that. And, you know, if you like take on the exercise that we've shown you today, definitely, you know, you'll definitely take time and, you know, taste the time and stuff. You know, yeah, I say just go for it, you know, and you know, you'll see like the change and difference. Yeah, go for it. Thank you so much, everybody.
And Paul. Yeah, one last word.
Yeah, just to echo what Charlene said. Yeah, I mean, thank you for joining us. Thank you for hearing us out and to really engage this evening. Your feedback has been like it has been great. I'm without words. It's been an experience for me.
Yeah.
And with everyone else.
Yeah, our first time for hopping, wasn't it? So we were hopping, it was going to go well. We had to get that joke in. We had a little bit of, but that's all great when we're trying out new exciting platforms. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, Sarah. That was wonderful. And I knew you'd say something about
I knew I had to get that in. I had to get that in.
But
Bye.
Thanks,
you're sorted
now. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
See you later, everyone.
Thank you.